Welcome to Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe podcast. Relationship Bite is a platform for everything relationship. Mother-child relationship, father-daughter, siblings, sister-in-laws, parents-in-laws, everything you need to know about relationship. It is said that one of the most important needs of human is belonging. It simply means that relationship is as important as being human. I will be taking you on a journey of everything relationship. Join me, Wendy Ologe, every fortnight as we explore the intricacies of different forms of relationship, the positives, the negatives, the wins, the losses, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between. And most importantly, the lessons we will learn from them. Relationship Bite with Wendy Ologe is your plug for real life experiences on diverse relationships and how we can maximize these relationships for the best. Alrighty, so you're welcome to Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe, and today we have the amazing Grace Leslie. Grace Leslie is the founder of Smart Speakers Academy. Should I tell them the founder of the next thing? No worries. Very soon. Very soon. We'll drop a message on your face. Alrighty, my name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the curator of the Relationship Bites with Wendy Ologe. This is where we talk about relationships, everything relationship, father, mother, daughter, father, whatever. Alright, I love it. I just love it. And talking about relationships, the other day I was talking to my daughter and I said, I think you should come on my podcast. And she was like, oh wow, actually I think you should. Maybe we should bring Ife on this podcast. Alrighty, so you're welcome. Thank you so much. And today we're talking about building purposeful mentor-mentee connections. This is a conversation that is very dear to my heart. I believe in mentorship, and it's something that in this time, this will be a very, very important and relevant subject to discuss. Now, there's something that's been happening in the recent past. I think that kind of having a mentor now is like a flex. Mm-hmm. Like young people just say that's my mentor. Mm. But I do not think that they're ready to do the work. Mm. So what I see is that's my mentor kind of thing, like, yes, I have a mentor too, but give one instruction, nobody's listening to you. So, I think that's a huge gap. Mm. Why do you think that is happening today?
Okay, thank you so much, Mama, for having me on this podcast. I feel so much honored and I do not take it for granted. And thank you, everybody, for listening. You would love this session. Stay tuned. Okay, we live in the generation where, so I call it the Indomie generation. So if it's not ready in a minute or two, we're out.
If it's not ready in a minute or two,
we're out. We're done. Now, mentorship cannot be done in a minute or two. Mentorship has to be, like Mama, you'd always say, find there and stay there. So mentorship is a thing of you find that, again, when people have 4, 5, 10, 15 mentors, it's not possible to stay. Because it would require your time, it would require your commitment. So how do you get committed to that? So you just find one person.
Orphan spirit.
Yes, that's what you call it. Orphan spirit. So it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So it's about finding that one person, that there. Like you called it at the Masterpiece Retreat, you're this year, you say, find you there, get to that there, and just stay there. So for young people, I would say that they should move away from the place of admiring success to actually sticking to the process of success. Success is a process, and like you would say, it's a journey. It's a journey, so that's
Interesting. Admiring success. I think it's the admiring success part that gets me all the time. Where I see a lot of young people, you just love what this person represents. I just want this person to be in this person's space and all of that, but they don't really want to do the job. Also, Grace Leslie is the CP of Masterpiece Mentorship Program, one of the cohorts.
Cohort 3.
And there's always a thing about being a masterpiece woman. It is a thing. Whether you like it or not, it is a thing.
Big thing.
So please don't be false, all right? Masterpiece mentorship is our, it's where women actually get to run 90 days of an amazing journey And what the beautiful thing about the Masterpiece Mentorship Program is that after the 90 days you're there. That's how I met Grace, even though of course, she's also an inner circle parent. But my relationship with her would be, through the Masterpiece Mentorship Program. And when you're done, we are on a repeat interactions. You're able to build connections, build a group of women, and build connections with mentorship and all of that. And did I tell you that next year we're gonna be in London,
UK
for our retreat? Yes, somebody said I just want to enter Masterpiece because of retreat.
Yes.
I said, that's not how we do it here. Please don't come.
Mama, you need to see the list of people that have paid for that retreat.
Oh my God.
You need to see the list.
In fact, I saw that I was seeing it growing 60 something. I was like, I'm taking something women to the UK. Like, how? Is that a joke? You guys. Okay. But what can you describe as your first aha moment in this journey of mentorship?
My first aha moment was beholding. I mean, I'll say this forever. I'll say it again. I said it during my intentional parenting journey. I'll say it again and again and again. So Mama would always say that you cannot become if you do not behold. So for me, I was born in church, right? So I knew about the faith part of every woman and the other 3 F's, right? I would say it again and again. I had never seen a complete 5F. I've never seen it. So for me, my aha moment was, it's possible to, and this generation of feminism, distorted feminism, right? So they just tell you, you're a woman, get up, make it, my finances, fulfill. Nobody's telling you that if you have all that 3 or 4 and there's no family, it's not a complete F. But I beheld someone who had all the 5s running simultaneously well. And it was an aha moment for me. It was an aha moment for me because it made me know and realize that it's then possible to become. Yeah. Because I had seen.
Awesome. It's actually really possible to become. And, that's something that I think by the time that I got to 30s, I began to ask myself questions. Why do we have women, very successful, family all messed up? Why do we have women very successful, very unfulfilled? So what does success now then mean to me? And I began to craft a whole roadmap to what success should mean. I realized that the 5 F's were at the core of what a woman, success means to a woman. And most times you find out that some women are on the finance end, finance is beautiful, everything, family suffering. And that's something that I see that I don't see a lot. But how has mentorship shaped the way that you now see yourself as a woman?
Okay. So, first of all, Mama's line that I will never forget is mentorship made me see that I am not called to a man, I am called to mankind. That narrative changed it for me. It made me see that, okay, we're here. I mean, she said it. The Masterpiece Mentorship, right, is 90 whole days of indoctrination. 90 whole days of indoctrination. I know someone is asking what's the 5 F's. Okay, so the 5 F's is a framework for femininity, finances, family, fulfillment, and faith. Thank you, Mama. So that's the 5 F's, right? So it made me know that, okay, with this framework, the goal is to not get stuck in the belief that you are called to a man when you are actually called to mankind. So that was it for me.
Awesome. So what's one area that if you could speak to you, who were you before the mentorship program? Where were you? What is that thing that if you were speaking to the old you, what's that thing that you're going to say to the old you?
The first thing I would say to the old me is, you ain't scratched nothing. Settling in success is a thing. And I love the way Robin Sharma puts it. I absolutely love Robin Sharma.
Yeah.
I love him.
I love the way he writes.
Yes, Robin Sharma would say, do not settle in success. Because genius is not the realm of genetics, it's the realm of practice. And if genius is the goal, if success is the goal, practice is forever. You keep practicing every single day. So my advice to that old me, right, is don't settle. No, you've not scratched nothing. You've not scratched nothing. So that was it for me.
Have you always believed that mentorship was something that will help you grow. Because, you know, I grew up, you know, 1 decade apart from from you, and I'm sure that, you know, it will be a little bit different from what it is that happened, because I believe that each generation is 10 years apart. So in my time, right, we didn't have this wave of mentorship, and the time I realized the place of mentorship was, I think, as a teenager. Somebody gave me a bad advice that I was actually going to go ahead to do. I was 16, and somebody had come to ask me out, and I had gone to ask the, what do they call it? We call it in TRP now, the sisters on the, you know, those sisters on the street.
Yes.
You know, area sister.
Area auntie.
Area sister, your area. Right? We all grew up together, and I had just gone to say, look at this person. She said, you can date him. It doesn't really matter. Come on, I was only 16, thinking about it now. Area sister told me to go and date a man while I was 16. But somehow, I think one of my aunties or something, and, you know, just said it in passing as we were talking, and she said, no, this is not the time, this is the time to focus. This is my auntie can be a talker. And, you know, I just listened to what my auntie said, and then she shared a story about herself, a mistake that she made. Boom! That's how I got saved. Imagine how I would have been mentored into this whole thing. You know the interesting thing, whether you are mentored actively or inactively, somebody's mentored. In fact, that was a lesson I took away. You know, we didn't have the names, we didn't have, this person is my mentor, but I realized that the people who speak into your life, you know, people who are advising you, could turn around to actually become, you know, that person. Have you ever made a mentorship mistake before?
Mentorship mistake? No, I don't think I have. Maybe admiring someone, and then maybe I find something that isn't what is looking like where I want to go to, and then I drop it. So I would say that one thing that helped me with mentorship is my father in the Lord, Pastor David Biomea. So I'm from Port Harcourt. Like, I'm from Port Harcourt, not like I live there. That's my village. If they say everybody go back to your village, that's where I'm going to go back to.
Go into Port Harcourt.
Yes, that's my village. So I'm from Port Harcourt, born, bred there, schooled in Port Harcourt, apart from when I had to go to my program in the French country. But then, so I saw him literally grow from, you know, when the church just starts and everybody's saying, oh, I know these people, they will soon go out. But I saw someone grow from just one other person that just started church to a whole nation, and a replica of Bishop David Ologe, literally. And that for me is a subject matter that is being discussed regularly. Now, I was born deeper life, so but we didn't really know much about Pentecostalism. So when he came into Port Harcourt, he still is a conversation. And I'm privileged to have worked in the school, you know, privileged to be really, you know, in this space with him, and I've seen it as a reality that without a mentor, there's nowhere really. Men are gods, like Mama would say, men are gods, and I saw it, and I've always admired it. I've always looked for who is my person for me, and I've seen him. So Mama, I can tell you a quick story of what happened to him. So when he was going with that Bishop Oyedepo's grace, he did a program some years back. It was the biggest program Port Harcourt, Rivers State as a whole, Niger that has ever noticed. Massive. It was at the civic center. The crowd was much. Everywhere was agog. And he took this result to Bishop Oyedepo. You know that kind, you're going to tell your mentor that you have results. And he went to tell him. And when he finished, Bishop Oyedepo looked at him and said, so David, what next? He always says this story to youth each time he's talking to us. And he asked him, what next? And he said, because from where he's coming from, they're already hailing him that he's doing something nobody has ever done. But because a mentor is not your fan, a mentor is not your fan. A mentor is not there to fan your success. A mentor is there to show you are more than this. The next question that came was, what next? Again, that lit up for him. Then the second thing that happened with him with that program was, because of the success of that, he wanted to build a crusade ground. So the church was now making some good money, and he wanted to build a massive crusade ground that would be state-of-the-art facility, something they've never seen in that part of the world. And he went on and on with this vision and took it to his mentor. And Bishop Oyedepo told him that crusades are done once in a while. Why not concentrate on building a church, a cathedral? Like a church is church. Church is every day. But when we talk about crusade, it happens. How often do crusades happen? Now, this was years back. Looking at it now, he doesn't even have the time to run crusades like he could years back. So, but with that, I mean, a lot of stories, right? And with that, I've studied his life like a book, and I've seen that mentorship is the only way. Mentorship is the only way. So I think that did it for me. So I really I don't see mentorship from the eyes of my age. Like you say, I saw it really tangible in his life.
Things that happened.
Yes.
I was listening to Pastor Irene, whom I had the privilege of having a conversation with just 2 weeks ago on a flight. And just goes and then introduced myself, and then we got talking. It was like, oh my goodness, and coincidentally I'm going to be speaking in his church. Next week. And I was like, I'm speaking in your church next week. He said, oh no. So for them to invite you must be somebody, that kind of thing. And I was talking about him, and he said, if I hadn't grown up in the living faith system, I wouldn't have known that you can access some things. Some things can be too big for you to see. But because this is a system where I was born in, I saw Papa say we dedicate this place on 28th of September. It happened. So there's something like, I don't have faith. It doesn't exist. I don't understand not having faith. I understand, having faith. And that's a very powerful, point. Mentors are not your fans. I usually say mentors are not your friends. Mentors, your mentor is not your friend. Where you can just go pop in and say, oh, my friend, my dear friend. Mentors are not your fan. They are not there to tell you, yay, you've done so well. One of my mentees had come to me recently and said to me that, Mama, this is where we are. We did so and so number. I said, wait, are you supposed to, what are you supposed to do? He said, he now said, we really tried though. We doubled our number from the last. I said, please, will you keep quiet? What does that mean? And then he said, okay, ma, I'm sorry, ma. What am I supposed to do again? I said, yeah, let's do it this way. Let's do it that way. And I've had a privilege of mentoring quite a number of people. And I was sitting down with a mentee and I was talking about his books. He came in, we drew a plan, and I said, your target is to sell 8,000 copies of books. His target was 1,000. I said, is that where? I said, have you seen me say 1,000 books? He said, okay, man. He went. As he was hitting the number, he was getting close to 8,000. It was 7,000 something. He was jumping. It was 1 week to the end of this book. I said, it's now 10,000.
Oh, wow.
He said that night he couldn't sleep.
Oh, wow.
He said I was pacing around. He said, Mama, I'm not sleeping. I said, that's good. Like, you're not supposed to be sleeping. But the interesting thing, he did 11,000 copies.
Wow.
That's the interesting thing. But if there was nobody to tell him what he was capable of, he's going to just continue it. And that's actually something very powerful. Before this conversation I was just having with Chris, and I was saying that my father in the Lord once told me that this is something I needed to do, and that singular instruction saved me. It has saved me so much and given me access to so much without just knowing. I believe that instructions are the core of what it is that mentorship should be. So let me ask you, what were you searching for when you were looking for a mentor? What exactly were you looking for?
Okay, so at the time when I started feeling uneasy was when, so my husband is a pastor, when he came back and he asked me if he's being posted now and I lose my job, what can I do if I find myself anywhere in the world? What can I do? And that if I cannot on my own from the place where I am generate the kind of money I'm earning, then the whole brain would have been a waste, the whole brain again. And he happens to be a graduate of Covenant University, so the way he thinks, the way he reasons is different. So when he asked that question, I'm like, truly, if I lose this, where do I begin? So at that point, I started asking myself questions. Who am I? What do I do? And then I now wrote something on emotional intelligence, and I found myself in EI course. So when I got because I was looking for where to get a course on EI, and then when I was listening to you, like, I had never before the time heard about anything about you before, or the Intentional Parent Academy.
So you just stumbled?
Yes, I just stumbled on it.
Oh wow!
I just stumbled on it. I was currently writing something on emotional intelligence, so I took it to him and said, okay, so I think I want to start writing books now, because I was just looking for myself. I was just everywhere. What do I do? They post me out of this. What will I do? So something, I just started writing what was coming to my head. And he said, well, I don't think you can write on emotional intelligence if you haven't taken a course on it. That's what he said. So I started looking for a course to take. So that's how I found it. And then from there, I entered the inner circle. From day one in the inner circle, I'm like, who is this? What's going on? And then I started researching about your life. I said, this is what I'm looking for. There's nothing else I'm looking for. So if there's anything I'm looking for, it's just what I'm seeing. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for. So I saw so many things. I heard so many things. I mean, that birthed the whole vision, by the way. That birthed the whole vision for me. When I heard about reading and all, the following day, I just heard God tell me, you can't go anywhere if you don't read. As at the time, I hadn't read a book in months, which was a habit for me, because I came out tops in class in school. But you know, marriage, start having children,
hassles of life,
you start settling. But when I started hearing how much Coach read and all of that, and I just heard God say, well, you're going to start up something, you're going to start up a book community, and that's how it began. So for me, it's a big choice. So I didn't have anything in mind, but when I saw it, I just said, this is what I want.
Awesome. I think that, you know, when you are able to actually connect, it makes it easier for you to actually be able to, look at mentorship differently. And I think that's one of the reasons. I remember, calling Grace and saying, she was running something before, and I said, oh, this thing we need to shut it down the way it is. And interestingly, she didn't say any words to me. She didn't say, no, something I've done since, and she just said, okay, man, where do I go? As in, this guy, okay, so how do I now go from here? Tell me. We started all over, literally, and then we started to build, that whole system. And in a few months, she returned to me and said, see, I'm not a millionaire, can we move?
We fly by instructions, Mama.
Can we move?
We fly by instructions according to you.
I'm now a millionaire, I'm no longer there. Can we please move? And yes, that is actually how to follow instructions. It's one thing that gets you to follow. We're about to round off, this conversation. And in one word, I want you to describe what mentorship means to you.
Mentorship for me would mean God's way of helping mankind. I heard Mama say during the MMP, within the 90 days, that men are gods. I don't think I will ever forget that. So I feel like the prayer we're praying to God is in a man. So there's no, Bishop Oyedepo will say, why are we disturbing God when that God has given us brain and given us people, so that the prayer point would reduce. Men are gods. Again, back to my father in the Lord, right? I saw it tangible. I mean, Potako, we're looking for, where did the church pass?
Yes. How did it grow like this?
Where it's an analysis. People sit down and they analyze. They will call, some of them will call some staff members and they say, what is going on? The school is running. I mean, Mama, the figures are shocking. I've been in the school for almost a decade. The figures are, no matter what the fee is saying, nobody is coughing. The position that the school for executives and top, and nobody, they're coming. Replica of the whole, like it's a conversation altogether. The church will be 28 on Sunday.
Oh wow!
And the result is
massive.
It's God's answer to mankind. It's God's way of helping mankind. Because if you do not behold somebody, you cannot become.
You cannot become. Awesome. One of the things that my mentor, would say to me would be, you have collapsed my 10 years into 10 months, and you have used it to become. And truly, the speed that I had was the speed of instructions from man. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to move. This is how you need to navigate, and that really helped me. So yes, what would be your advice to a young person who is listening to you? Scratch that. Someone who is listening to you, not a young person, because I know that there are other people who also do not understand the conversation about mentorship. Someone listening to you now and they're wondering, what's this thing about? I'm like, yeah, where would I now go and start looking for the person? What would be your advice to them?
Okay, I'll say to you, that person, first of all, change your perspective. Just see that you cannot, there's a level you can't hit without a mentor. First of all, if you agree with this, right, you're already a step forward. And then secondly, I would say, study the story of Mary and Elizabeth. By the way, history has it that Mary was a teenager. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was a teenager. An innocent teenager who, at the time, how can she even be married outside? How can she be pregnant outside marriage at that time? But mentorship made her birth, carry, nurture a savior. So we can't, it's not out of place, it's not a woke thing, you know. Don't think that this new generation, no, it's not. It's not a new generation breeze, so to speak. It's something that has been there. It's a system that God has set to help mankind. Change your perspective, see it as a need. So once you change your perspective, you see that it's a need for you. And once that hunger is there, pray about it. Pray about it. Spiritual intelligence is greater than anything. And thank God for the book Spiritual Intelligence. If you're a woman, just enter the Masterpiece Mentorship platform. Just come in. Come inside. The baptism that you have there, it will answer all the questions that you have. But you need a mentor. You do. Take it from me. If you've been thinking if you need it or not, take it from today, right now. You need a mentor. Like you need the air you breathe. You need a mentor. And you need the right one, by the way.
Awesome place to actually call this conversation, great, you need a mentor. And not just a mentor, you need the right mentor. And you're looking for how to even find yourself, get into the Masterpiece Mentorship program. You're looking for how to start to read. I've seen Chris Leslie do a speed reading thing, and I'm like, okay, this is the thing. So please get into the Smart Speakers Academy, find her, in fact, I'm planning to get my own teenagers, for her to come and do some kind of speed training. Yes, it is so awesome. So before we go, I want to ask you some fun, interesting, rapid question. So let's go. One word your mentor says a lot that now lives rent-free in your head.
We fly by instruction. Absolutely. Say it and we fly.
Number 2, your go-to routine when you need a mindset reset. What would be that thing you would do?
Worship song.
Awesome. Tea or coffee during mentorship?
Tea.
Literally, Grace will have nothing. Grace has been with me for days now. Came in all the way from Port Harcourt. Sitting down with me. It's only today she has agreed to eat food. What an awesome thing. Thank you so much, Grace, for being here. It's been an awesome time. So you guys find the Smart Speakers Academy online. For my sake, follow.
Thank you so much,
Mama. Tell me that you have followed. See you again and have an amazing week.
Thank you so much, Mama. It's such an honor to be on your podcast. I love it. And I love you, Mama. Thank you so much.
Love you too. Bye.